from Mangaung ahead of the January 8 of the African National Congress. We have adjourned the conference. The results of the additional members will be announced tonight as they conclude counting. The Electoral Commission, together with the media, Comrade Pule, will coordinate that announcement of the additional members of the National Executive Committee. We have had a number of glitches, which we have stated, which have inconvenienced the program of this conference, from the registration and also in terms of the voting. The voting has taken a lot of time, but we have managed to convene all the commissions, and the commission's rapporteurs and chairpersons of the different commissions will be here to give you a flavor of the discussions. I have explained to you yesterday when you complained that the conference is closed. What are you doing here if we are not opening the conference to you? The rapporteurs will give you a flavor, a report, briefly overview of the things that were discussed and what is the attitude of the conference on those issues that you would like to understand how we seek to resolve, from electricity, load shedding, to a number of issues that you want to engage us on. On the 5th, we will give you the resolutions. We have had to take this step because the constitutional amendments are key, but also we didn't want to do a rush work and without concluding properly on the issues to be debated. You want to know about step aside and all of that. We don't want to leave confusion where people say, where was the resolution taken? And so on. So we took a bold step to say we will finalize in the hybrid form so that we give everyone ample time to understand the resolution we are taking going forward. So that is why, among others, we have had to actually adjourn the conference, and the President gave you that address not so long ago. So thank you very much for your time. I promised you an official's briefing. We have decided to schedule that briefing in Mangaung ahead of the January 8. Because it was practically impossible to do it today. So we'll do that briefing in Mangaung when we celebrate the ANC January 8. Thank you very much. I think you were there in plenary when I explained and read the report of the steering committee, which was adopted on the adjournment. So I don't want to waste time because we've got the rapporteurs here from different commissions, and then they are going to field questions and explain the discussions that took place and what are the issues that arise from those commissions. So we don't want really to waste time. If you've got questions on the issues of the adjournment and the conference in general, we can take those questions now. Thank you very much. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can the team just hand over the roving mics? Comrade Andres, please assist the DIP team with the media relations team from DIP with the list of all the reporters that are here, so that we can do the lineup of who is starting and all of that, because I don't think that our media relations team has covered that. So it's easier when we do what the SG says we must do soon after this briefing. Okay, yeah, the media outlet you represent and your name, and then proceed with your question.
Paul Vecchiato from Bloomberg. The inability to close a scheduled conference within the allocated time, does this reflect on any way on the party's ability to govern nationally, provincially and locally? And then secondly, we are also told that the entire top 7 would be here. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Will the other members be joining us soon? Thank you.
Okay, we'll take the next question, but I think the SG did clarify that the media briefing we spoke about yesterday of the top 7 is going to take place, but it will take place on the sidelines of the NEC or of the continuation of this conference, because they want to just communicate and convey to yourselves all the decisions, including the declaration. Okay.
My name is Tando Mayeko from the Business Day. Now, we understand that some commission, actually a lot of them were really attended by the delegates throughout this week, throughout the conference. Some were loitering around and partying, as the President said in his closing address earlier today. Do you think this will in any way affect the product, as in the policy outcomes of the ANC? Do you expect any changes or will it remain the same? Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's Govin Whittles from Newsroom Africa, Channel 405. The content of the President's closing address, was that based on the discussions in the ANC's commissions, or are those just his views, particularly regarding some of the decisions that he said the ANC must take, the NHI, corruption, and so on? Thank you.
So let's take all the hands, and then the SGO will answer. They can take 10.
Thank you. Kopano Gumbi from Reuters. Just some clarity from the Commission, especially around economic transformation. Were any new policies introduced in this one, or should we expect that it will remain as we've seen before? Thanks.
To avoid any temptation, the reporters are here. So questions like those must be written down and asked to the relevant reporters. So please, are avoiding temptation. They are coming, they are here. Okay, let's proceed.
Thank you so much. I am Hlenge Wendlovu from the Vet School of Governance, and I would like to congratulate the 2 women at the platform for pushing the numbers. So the President highlighted the issue of gender parity in his speech. So I just wanted to ask that, knowing that the positions that you've taken are very important, but not as strategic enough to move the women's agenda forward. What are the plans that you have or strategies in place that you're going to implement from here, so much that in 2027 you are going to deliver a woman president, uncontested, unhumiliated at this conference? Thank you.
Okay, all the hands. So SGS said we just take this round the answer, because you are going to be engaging with the reporters. There was also the gender reference group, which had its own commission, and they presented previously. But we'll just make sure that the SGO deals with it. Comrade Nomvola, the DSG is here, and Marubin, they will be able to deal with those, our 2 DSGs.
Thank you very much. My name is Ngosi Konamalingamnisi from Power FM. I know outgoing or former national spokesperson, you've mentioned that the issue around gender parity will be discussed by those that chaired the commissions. However, seeing that the women that are now elected are here themselves, I'm sure they would want to have some form of contribution here. So my question with regards to gender parity in the party, do you feel as if the party, it's because Dr. Gwendra Mohopa said it's not only a win for women, but it is also one for the party. Do you feel as if the party, in fact, is moving towards that direction of allowing and enabling women to take up their space, or was it an issue of numbers? Thank you very much.
Sanbonan.
Can we go this way? You take her, you take potato, and you come last. Then we're closed for all the questions.
Okay.
Let's move that. So we're not going to recognize any new hand. We go with the ones we have. You can
Okay, good afternoon, Mama Zimankosi from Sowetan. I just wanted to know and get clarity on what the role of the two DSGs will be going forward.
Thank you. Khothatso Marisa at the Sunday Times. The president said that he was very unhappy with the attendance or lack thereof of women as compared to that of men. I just wanted to, as delegates, I just wanted to check, wasn't it in the guidelines that the attendance here will be 50-50 and that where a branch is sending two, you will make sure that one is a woman, and where there's three, you will make sure that two are women. That was my understanding, unless I'm correct. What happened there? I mean, even the president said up there that he was unhappy that there were more men here. Can you just explain perhaps what happened there? Thanks.
Good afternoon. Ikamalam Ngulindelan Mbata from Kagasi FM. I'm not too sure if I'll be diverting, but my question is directed to Maropene Ramakhopa, the second DSG. I just want to know if because you have been in the task team that was given a duty to oversee this. So I just want to find out if, are you aware of the workers that haven't been paid in the office of the president and also in the office of the SG? Are you aware of that? If yes, what have you done about it? If no, what are you going to do about it? Because it's so sad when you listen to their stories. Because those are the people that we are staying with. They are our families. We are staying with. They are our neighbors. So are you aware of that? If not, maybe what is it that you're going to do? Thank you.
Gavin, I gave you a chance. I did say that that was the last round. We are now going to proceed with answers. I think the question that you are asking has to do with the NEC of the Women's League, not what Comrade Marupin is doing now as the coordinator. But it's okay, you will answer. Oh, sorry, Comrade Nombola, the DSD just clarified me. They will deal with the question. They are more in the know about what's clarified. Okay. Okay, SG.
I'll give the second TSG and the first TSG to answer the questions they can answer, and then I'll close.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Secretary General. I'll start with the issue of the ANC Women's League. All I know is that all our staff members have been paid by the ANC Women's League. And this, we are talking about staff members that have got contracts at least with the ANC Women's League. If there's anyone else who claims not to be paid and has got a contract with the ANC Women's League, we'll definitely, they can come to us and we'll speak about it. On the issues of those that were directly paid by the ANC, all of them that I know about have been paid and are continues to be paid by the Office of the Treasurer General, of course, just like all the staff members of the ANC. So if there's anybody else who's raising issues, they can just come and talk to me and I'll be able to assist them. But we are not aware of anybody who has a contract with us or with the ANC who hasn't been paid. If there are people maybe who've been there, but their contract ended at some specific point, that part we will not be able to assist because people who are not doing work cannot be paid, or people who don't have contracts cannot be paid, because how are we going to base the payment of such people, especially when we do auditing on. So, but if there's anything like that, please tell them to come and talk to us. I think I'll also just like to address the issue that was raised by the colleague from Power FM on the issue of, is it the issue of 3 women, is it an issue of numbers or is it a qualitative issue? I think first of all, we are comrades and members of the ANC in our own right. and we've got credible credentials to be elected, of course, where we are. It is definitely not about issues of numbers, but it is more on ensuring that the ANC does reflect its own membership, but it also reflects on gender parity, which is very important. It's not about crunching numbers and just to say that we've got 3, but if you look at where we are based as members of the organization, we are based in the SGO, which is the machinery of the organization, as well as the treasury, which is, of course, where resources will be dispersed to be able to assist the organization to do its programs. So I would not say that it is about numbers, but it is more about the qualitative contributions and roles that we'll be playing in order to ensure that the organization called the ANC will definitely do what it's supposed to do. I think I'm fine.
Thank you very much, Comrade Marupini, TSG. On a lighter note, after we were elected yesterday, myself and Comrade Marupini told the SG that we are all SGs, and we deputize him in the work. And we're looking forward to working together as a collective. Just dealing firstly with the issue of the 2 DSGs. In the organizational renewal engagement of the ANC and the review of the structure of the ANC, one of the things that came out glaringly was the political incapacity at the level of headquarters, that in as much as you may have administrative capacity, you do need additional political leadership that can share different responsibilities so that then there is authority in whosoever has that mandate. And out of those deliberations, we then went to the policy conference, and that's when then there was this proposal mooted, which then got adopted yesterday. Where we are, it is quite clear that the roles and responsibilities will be in line with the plans around the reorganization of the ANC and the role of the SG. In terms of political management, strategic leadership, as well as providing guidance on the functioning of the National Executive Committee and all structures of the ANC. So it is not just a decision that has been arrived at with regard to creating space for additional people. It is informed by the review as well as the modernization process of the African National Congress. And we're looking forward to those responsibilities already being spelled out in the Constitution, as well as in the program of action for the coming 5 years, and the inputs that are going to come from the commissions on organizational renewal, organizational management, as well as organizational development. The second issue that I want to also deal with, what are the plans for the women's agenda? The agenda is informed by the aims and objectives of the ANC, that of building a non-racial and non-sexist South Africa. But amongst other things is to ensure that we have capacity and capability, not only of individuals, but the institution, the African National Congress, of being able to be gender sensitive, as well as being able to be conscious in taking decisions, as well as ensuring that we respond to issues that affect women, not only on the social front, but also in the area of security, in the area of leadership, as well as in the area of economic development. There is a document that was presented in the policy conference. It has since been incorporated in the organizational report that speaks on those issues that are going to be prioritized. And once the resolutions are adopted, that would also be shared with your good selves post the Mangaung meeting that is going to be a hybrid session. What are the reasons for the adjournment of this conference? The reasons are straightforward. Many of our delegates have to go to work tomorrow. They have to report for duty. Secondly, we also had challenges about the accreditation process, because headquarters has actually been ahead of our members in terms of using a system that our members had not necessarily complied with, and that actually created a problem. On the issues of elections and stuff, we know that at plenary, delegates also have a right to nominate from the floor. And of importance is that everybody who was also nominated from the floor had to go through that vetting process that everyone went through prior to the nominations being pronounced by Comrade Kgalema. So there was work that was done the entire night yesterday until this morning at 2:30, between ourselves in the ANC working together with the Electoral Committee. So there was work, and that is one of the things that was overlooked, that being nominated, it must not automatically mean you go into the ballot. There must also be, you must fulfill that process that the guidelines had actually put out as a condition. On the representation of women and what the President has raised, part of the constitutional amendments we're also sharing, just reflecting earlier on with Comrade Marupini, the DSG, that one of the constraints is the constitutional requirement. The ANC branches have grown, but as they have grown, the Constitution says a branch has to be represented, a branch in good standing has to be represented by one delegate. So what you do then, you first allocate every branch in good standing, one delegate. And that actually reflected that the majority of the delegates who were then elected by branches were men. So it immediately just created a problem. And then the proportional allocation was an allocation that was given to those branches that has got more than an additional 150 and then another 150 going upward. And that's where then gender parity applied, where you have the second delegate being a female. Of course, in the 4,000, there are, I think in our estimation, we had almost just 270 that were represented by women. And we do believe that it's quite an indictment on the ANC, and a lot of work has to be done. So that constitutional requirement, SG, that says 1, we definitely have to look at it. It does not say 2. And imagine if we had 2, we would have had 8,000 just as a start, being representatives of branches only. The non-attendance in commissions, one of the things that we have also registered is exactly that. Without defending those who actually went AWOL from commissions, provinces had met and there were submissions. And in one of the commissions that I chaired, we had a lot of submissions that were coming from the provincial presentations. So we do take note that there was a poor attendance in some, not even in all of them, but there was also submissions that were made on behalf of a province or on behalf of a sector. The leagues themselves have also had their submissions presented in the different commissions. I think, SG, those are the areas that I would respond to, and you may then add if I've omitted anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Top 7, I've promised you that, and I still keep that promise, and it will happen next year. The top 7 of the ANC, led by the President, before January 8 in Mangaung. The allegation that our commissions were poorly attended, it's a poor, unfounded fabrication. because we finished, I briefed you yesterday, we finished around 12 o'clock, the commissions. We voted up until that time. So you were voting from the commissions for the top 7, and that is what happened. So our commissions were well attended, and they produced good results. And the rapporteurs and the chairs of the commissions will give you the flavor of what was discussed and what is the attitude of the delegates and the conference on a whole number of issues, up until we come back to you again in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The president of the ANC is the custodian of policy. He pronounces policy. It means he has read the resolutions. He has a thorough understanding of what is the spirit of conference on a whole number of issues. So there's nothing like personal views from the president. He is given that by the ANC constitution. Just like me, I'm the custodian of the ANC constitution. You misbehave, I deal with you. And there will be no retreat on that. That's what this conference have bestowed on me. Not as Mbalula, Secretary General, is expected to enforce the law of the ANC. Renewal or death. That's what we must do. When we say we renew, we must be unambiguous about renewal. It must be felt, it must be seen. That this is the party that is renewing itself, not a party that comes to a conference and struggles with registration. In the era of technological highway, people are using technology and all of that. What happened here will be something of the past. The ANC must be dynamic. Good things and advanced things must be seen from the ANC. Just like South Africa, when you want to see good things in style and fashion, you always look at Soweto. And then you know that Soweto. Then thereafter we'll just be following, because Soweto has been a trendsetter in many ways. Because they are just next to OR Tambo Airport, Soweto people. So Tina, we are very far from airports where we come from. We don't even, it is only during the era of democracy that we got exposed to airports and aeroplanes. So that is the report, that is the issue with regard to the matter of the president address. The issue of role of 2 DSGs, each one of them will have a role to play. But they've got their strength as persons, but we want everyone to express themselves and not close them down on what the Constitution says it is expected from them. It means they must do the political work. They are political officers. The Deputy Secretary General's role in the main was reduced to administrative work. But even if it is not written in the Constitution, Nomvula and Maropeni, they are political animals. They must express themselves. They must lead and not become administrators. They must lead politically and based on their capabilities and their strengths. Yesterday, DSGs, I was asked about what am I bringing in this portfolio by Mkokeli, I think. Yeah. So I explained to him that my upbringing and training is organizational development and party construction. I'm an expert on that. I was trained very, very, very far about that work. So in the school of excellence called the ANC Youth League, I was trained in that. So I was trained also by the Germans. So when you do my profiling, I'll give you some things you don't know. But we leave that to one-on-one, okay? But thank you very much. We are continuing, like we said, so you will get the result this afternoon. So we don't want to delay. Over to the presenters. And thank you, Comrade Pule, for the diligent work you are doing with the media. Your job is guaranteed. Thank you.
Aye, man, comrade. Aye, man. Mbax, can you? Hey. No, thanks very much to the SGO for the time. Thanks, Comrade Mbax. We are still going to be here with the commissions for the next 3-4 hours. Last time we did 6 hours.